Have you been trying to figure out your school options? Today we're going to talk about two of the options that you have, and that is a charter school versus public school. My name is Holly Rivers, and I work from home and I'm homeschooling my kids. And my passion is really family and home. And my ultimate goal is to figure out a way to mesh those two worlds together and create a happy home. If you are looking for tips, guidance, advice on whether it's home management, home organization, decluttering, homeschooling, and motherhood, then you're in the right place, because I would love to help you create your happy home. Let's jump into the subject today. I did bring some notes with me, so if you see me looking down, that's just me making sure I'm giving you accurate information today. But we're talking about charter school and public school. There are several similarities between the two. Number one is that they both are free tuition schools that are funded by our tax dollars and that are managed by the education standards for the state that you're in. A charter school is actually a public school, and they both operate in certain boundaries. A charter school is going to have a limit as to the number of students that it will accept within a certain county or certain area. It's a more intimate setting. Typically, I've seen them as small as 300 up to 2,000, whereas in a traditional public school, you can enroll. There's not going to be a limit as to the number of students that they can accept. With the traditional public school, if their school population continues to grow, they will build new schools. And so as long as you live in that area or a zone for that area, you'll be able to attend that school. With the charter school, a lot of times they function with a lottery. And so you basically register to go to that school and they put you in on a lottery. And every year they run a electronic lottery, and they let you know if you've been accepted into that school or not. If you have a sibling that's already attending the school, then you have a greater chance in the lottery of getting accepted as a secondary child into the school. Or if your parent works at the school and you're in the lottery, there's a better chance you have getting accepted also. But every lottery is a little bit different, but majority of what I've seen and what I've researched have functioned that way, where you just register, and as long as you're in by the deadline, you can be put into the lottery. And if you don't make that lottery or that cutoff for your grade, then you're put on a wait list. And I have to say this about wait lists though, because a lot of times charter schools, they start letting people know about, what they offer to a student, a parent that's seeking that option. You're going to want to start looking at them in November, December, January. A lot of these lotteries cut off by the end of February or maybe right into the middle of March. And so it's pretty early. And with traditional schools, registration starts in the spring and runs through the summer also. And it's not to say if you get waitlisted on a charter school from their lottery that you won't get in, because a lot of people go through changes in the summer, whether they're relocating or moving, or maybe they applied for more than one lottery system and they got, into another one that they prefer, and so they turned down one and it could open back up. I just have seen it where people have been waitlisted and they have still had opportunity to attend that school because of slots opening up as close as 2 weeks before school starts. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind if you're considering charter schools and you're concerned about the lottery and how that would work, and if you have a chance of getting in still if you were actually waitlisted. Traditional public schools will, as I mentioned, be a lot larger, and so they have a lot more opportunity for more extracurricular activities for your child to get involved with. A charter school is going to have extracurricular activities as well, but it just won't be as wide range and variety offered to your students, just because they don't have the capacity to do so. Charter schools receive public funding and tax dollars, as I mentioned, but they receive less tax dollars. And because they have a charter, they basically are saying, we're going to meet the academic standards that we need to meet for our state and take all the same state tests that the public school is required to, but they have a different type of board that they are operating under. And so they can specify how they're unique and like what their vision and mission is and how that's different. So it may be catered to, making sure kids are college bound. It may be catered to kids in the arts. It may be catered to individualized learning for their students as they're going through each grade. And so whereas another one it could be a totally different focus. Some of them are focused on like a half-day program, so kids that are involved in extracurricular activities, whether it's gymnastics or other sports or arts that they are focusing on, that they can focus on that while they get their education. So charter schools offer a wide range of opportunity for you as a parent. You just have to look around and see which ones are going to meet your needs. Whereas the public school system pretty much is going to run the same. You're going to have the start time, the end time, the extracurricular. It's going to be very much more structured and less autonomy in the classroom. The teachers are all going to have to follow guidelines pretty specifically when it comes to educating your child, and stay within all the systems and programs within that school. In a charter school, a teacher has the autonomy to, as I mentioned, cater that learning to each specific child. Even though both schools have funding through tax dollars, they still both do fundraising for different activities for the students in the school. As I mentioned, they both have accountability standards in place for testing in the state because they both are public schools. The charter school acts as its own school district per se, whereas you have multiple school districts in either a county or a city. It would be its own school district, even if it was its own individual school or if it had multiple schools throughout a large city. Class size in a charter school is something else that's going to be different. As I mentioned, the classes are going to be much smaller because the school is traditionally much smaller. And at charter school, you're getting a full student body population of anywhere from 300 to 2,000, for example, is a lot of the range that I've seen, which is a pretty big range. Most of that I've seen have been right around 1,000 or 1,200 for the student body population. But if you can compare that to larger cities or mid-sized cities with populations around 60,000 people, those schools and those districts could have multiple elementary schools, multiple middle schools, and multiple high schools in the area, with populations in the student body for elementary being the same size as the full charter school, and with their high school being twice the size as a full charter school. Teachers in charter schools and public schools are definitely all must be proficient in their academia and in their skill set. You're still going to see teachers with teaching certificates, with bachelor's degrees and some with master's degrees. Charter schools are schools of choice for a parent. So usually if you're looking for something specific to meet your child's needs, that's why you're looking at a charter school, to see what benefits and options that they have. And as I mentioned, each could be a little bit different, whether it's focused on STEAM or STEM or arts, college bound, as I mentioned before. So going into it, you're already looking at a different experience for your child versus the public school system. In a charter school, you're just going to have a greater diversity of learning models available to you. Also, with a charter school, you are going to be looking at the difference between the public school, which is ran by the state board, versus a private board of directors that may be overseeing the charter school. But one of the last things I want to share with you about charter schools is that it has really been growing in popularity. I actually found an article in Forbes from 2018 that talked about how much there was an interest in a gain and growth in charter schools. It is kind of just the hybrid model between a private school and a public school. Some charter schools require their students to wear a uniform, and it also compared how the schools ranked in testing. It shared that charter schools likely have a little bit higher test rates than a lot of public schools. Now, that's not always the case. Some charter schools could be underperforming. What they also discussed was that some independent school districts that are public traditional schools created a hybrid of a charter school just to see what it would be like. And when they did that, they gave some autonomy to some teachers as a test to see what would change in that traditional school environment. And what they noticed was that those students' performance increased, but it still didn't increase as high as some of the charter schools that it was comparing it to outside of a traditional public school. So I guess the big question is, are traditional public schools leaning towards becoming a hybrid of a charter public school. I guess time will tell. It's been several years since that article has spun. Interest in charter schools is still increasing. So if you're finding this information valuable, please go ahead and click that like button below. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to hear about school. So in the end, charter schools are basically created to bridge a gap in the community, whether it was a family or nonprofit organization that saw a need and got together and formed this charter school to meet a unique need. What you'd be looking for is finding a charter school that aligns with your family values and that you agree with their mission and goals and what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to offer their students, whether you're wanting your child in a smaller school environment or whatever that charter school is offering that's differentiating itself from the public schools and the other charter schools in the area. Make sure you look for my next video. We're going to continue talking about some different schooling options that you may have as a parent as well. So make sure you're looking for that video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this information helpful. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and click on that bell so you'll be notified of my next video. I'll see you guys next time.